2, 1. Good evening. I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Southampton Town Board on this 23rd day of November 2021. Please rise if you're able and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So let's remain standing and join together in a moment of silence as we traditionally do, particularly on this eve of Thanksgiving. We certainly are grateful to live in this great nation and enjoy the incredible freedoms we have that have been so hard fought for. So let's keep in our thoughts and prayers all the men and women of our armed services, and also, of course, our police and EMS personnel too, who put their lives on the line at times to protect us. We also are celebrating a life and mourning the loss of a Hampton Bays resident that is a big loss for that community. Somebody who's done a lot in the community charitably and been a big part economically of the community as well. So I'm going to turn things over to Councilman Rick Martell to tell us about Anthony Galgano.
Yeah, so Saturday, unfortunately, we did suffer the passing of Mr. Tony Galgano. For those of you who do know Tony, he was the co-owner of the Boardy Barn in Hampton Bays. You know, the last 3 days, all the phone calls and text messages and actually newspaper interviews that I've heard and seen have gotten have all covered Tony, the person, not the Boardy Barn owner. He was one of a kind, very generous, giving person in our community. He was the thread that kept the quilt that we call the Hampton Bays community together. And his passing is going to really impact our community. We're going to miss him by so many people. And I could go on, and there's stories. There's going to be a very nice article in the paper this week, but please keep him in your prayers and his family in your prayers today.
All right, so let's join together in silence as we remember Tony Galgano and again, all of our military personnel. Please be seated. All right, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Certainly. Supervisor Schneiderman,
Present.
Councilwoman Lofstad,
Here.
Councilman Martell.
Here.
Councilman Bouvier,
Here.
Councilman Schiavone.
So we are still on Zoom, which means two things. One, that the pandemic is still here. It's not over. I know we all can't wait to see it in the rearview mirror, but there are still people testing positive and some people quite seriously with symptoms. So, you know, particularly with Thanksgiving coming, I think we just need to be extra careful with the people we love to make sure that we're protecting ourselves, but the ones we care about as well. So, and the other issue is the elevator. They're working away at the elevator. We expect it to be done by the end of the year. This is the elevator at Town Hall. So we have accessibility issues at Town Hall until it's complete. But I am anticipating and hopeful that we will be back in person come our first meeting in January, the organizational meeting. I plan to have that as an in-person meeting, likely either upstairs or in the auditorium, but hopefully upstairs. Okay, first order of business, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of our regular town board meeting of November 9th, 2021.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, approved. All right, let's move on to communications. Sunday, would you please read the communications?
The following communications have been received in the office of the town clerk. We have received public notices from the New York State Department of Transportation, a notice of eminent domain, Town of East Hampton public hearing notice regarding the cannabis law, Town of Riverhead notices of adoption, Village of Southampton architectural review and historic preservation hearing notice regarding site at Hetty Creek Lane, Southampton Village. Financial disclosure statements have been filed by the listed individuals, and emails, letters, petitions, and land use applications have been received regarding the following: a petition for Poxabog field designation and conservation board hearing for a family trust located at Jewel Pond Drive in Watermill. The following report was filed from the receiver of taxes for the transfer of unpaid alarms to the 2021-2022 tax roll, the amount of $281,650. And that concludes the communications for this meeting's agenda.
All right, thank you. All right, I'd like to add some more resolutions to our agenda. You should have a walk-on packet. There are 11 resolutions that are being asked to be walked on. And this does require a supermajority vote to add these on at the end. I don't think anything is you're going to find controversial. So let me just read them. 38684 will appoint Jessica Feldman to Legislative Secretary in the Trustee's Office. 38818 appoints Shelley Burkowski to Deputy Town Clerk position. 38872, which is co-sponsored by John Bouvier and Tommy John Schivoni, authorizes controlled demolition with friable asbestos at 140 West Montauk Highway in Hampton Bays. 38873, same sponsors, authorizes controlled demolition with friable asbestos at 33 Bay Avenue in East Quad. 38875 is the 22nd warrant. 38878 authorizes the supervisor to engage services and execute an agreement with Squires Holding Weisenbacher and Smith for Shinnecock Hills Road and our Budas Road surveying. 38880 authorizes agreement between the Hampton Bays Water District and National Grid as it relates to the relocation of a water main. 38884 amends the Community Preservation Project Plan and the CPF Management Stewardship Plan to include land of Camp Jerome LLC and authorize acquisition. 38890 accepts a TDR deed and residual fee from Blair K. Gaza for properties to be maintained as open space located at West Hampton, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-306-4-12.1 and 307-3-3.1 pursuant to Town Code Section 244-4, obtaining development rights certificate, and Section 247 of the New York State General Municipal Law. 38891 accepts a TDR of residual fee from Mary DiCarlo, Vincent DiCarlo, and Patricia DiCarlo for property to be maintained as open space located at West Hampton, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-306-4-24.1, pursuant to Southampton Town Code Section 244-4, obtaining a development right certificate, and Section 247 of the New York State General Municipal Law. And the last resolution, 38900, being offered by Councilman Bouvier, is a cost reimbursement waiver for the East Quogue Beautification Committee, East Quogue Village Green Annual Tree Lighting Ceremony on Saturday, December 4th, 2021. So I will make a motion to walk all of those resolutions on.
Second.
Second by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that looked unanimous to me. All right, so we're going to move now. We'll take those up later. We'll move to public hearings, and I'll ask our clerk, Cindy Schermeyer, to read the first public hearing notice.
Public hearing number 1, to consider enforcement action at 85 North Phillips Avenue, Remsenburg, for property cleanup and hazard abatement.
Right.
So we have Sean Cambridge on to read that out.
Oh, I see Sean is there. So I'll turn things over to Sean.
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor and members of the town board. I actually have some news. This property was demolished without permits. So since that has occurred, these property owners have filed for a demolition permit as required, which is what we like to see usually before the demolition, but they did file for this permit. If I may, I'll share my screen. I took a site visit out there, and this property is completely abated of the hazards. As you can see on the right there, this property has had basically everything removed. As you recall from our work session, there were some cement structures and a pool that was the subject of a notice of violation of the Department County of Health from the county. All of those hazards have been abated. Charges were filed for the removal without the demolition permit, and they'll be dealt with in the Justice Court accordingly. Of course, we're just looking for compliance with the code. So I am satisfied that these conditions have been abated. And on those grounds, I would recommend the town board open, close, and then withdraw the resolution to adopt on tonight's agenda labeled 2021-1129. This was a long time problem. This started January of 2018. So I'm very happy that this is resolved. And my apologies for having this all scheduled. I wish these people would have come in for the permit and had taken care of it back in 2018. Thank you, everybody.
All right, thank you, Sean. Any questions for Mr. Cambridge?
No, not a question, just happy to see that the property is in or close to compliance, like the counselor said. I wish more people would do that when they get in these situations.
All right, so we'll go to the public, and if you wish to be heard on this public hearing only, so this is the public hearing regarding the code enforcement action at 85 North Phillips Avenue in Remsenburg. You need to click the raise hand icon at the bottom of your screen to let us know that you wish to be heard. Just on this public hearing, no other matter.
I see no hands.
All right. Yeah, I don't think we need to leave the record open. I think we'll just, I'll make a motion to close.
I'll make the motion to close.
I made a motion to close. John is seconding.
All right, didn't hear you. Yes, I'm seconding it.
Okay, any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So when we get to the resolution, we don't need to take any action here. We just simply withdraw the resolution.
Correct.
That's good.
All right, so we'll move on to the second public hearing notice, and I'll ask our clerk to please read the notice.
Public hearing number 2, to accept the deed of residual fee from Blair K. Gaza for properties to be maintained as open space located at West Hampton pursuant to Southampton Town Code 244-4, obtaining a development right certificate, and 247 General Municipal Law of the State of New York.
All right, and our planning director, Dave Wilcox, will introduce this.
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor and Town Board. We do have we have 2 public hearings. The first one, as was noted, is for Blair Gaza. I noted, Mr. Supervisor, when you read the add-on resolution that the tax map numbers don't seem to match up with what I have. So we might want to just check that before you adopt that resolution to make sure it has the correct tax map numbers. Are you all seeing my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So what you're seeing here is the key map. You're seeing the map, I think.
Correct.
Okay. And you see there's 2 parcels there because we have 2 hearings, but the first hearing is on the Gaza property. And this property is tax parcel 900-306-4-12.1 and also 900-307-3-1.1. They happen to be immediately adjacent to each other, and it's the parcels in red. They abandoned the roads in between them, so they are merged into one tax parcel at this point. So the subject combined area outlined in red is located south of West Avenue, west of West Hampton Boulevard, north of Fane Avenue, east of Warren Street, on the old filed map of West Hampton Shores, filed in 1927. The properties also include abandoned portions of the adjacent streets. The properties are located in the CR 200 or 5-acre zoning district. They have a combined area of 4.29 acres which is 186,720 square feet. And these combined properties are entitled to an allocation of 0.9336 development rights, which will be issued by the town pending the acceptance of the deed of dedication. Going to the close-up, the Gaza property is here outlined in red. You can see that the properties are surrounded pretty extensively by existing Suffolk County open space parcels. These are out in the core of the Pine Barrens. The properties are also in the town's Old File Map Overlay District, the Town Aquifer Protection Overlay District, the Suffolk County Dwarf Pine Forest, Suffolk County Special Groundwater Protection Area, and the properties are also on the CPF Priority Acquisition List. Being located in all of these critical areas qualifies these properties for the issuance of a development rights certificate. And that's it.
So this would be a donation of the residual fee, or this is the purchase of the development rights certificate? No, they will get the development rights certificate once we get the fee, right?
Well, when we accept the deed, then we can issue them a development rights certificate essentially in exchange for the deed.
Okay, and how, was it one development right, or is it?
It is it's almost one full right. It's 0.9336.
Okay. I imagine the DeCarlo one is less, 'cause it's a smaller lot.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else have questions for Mr. Wilcox on this?
I do not.
All right, then.
If you're interested in how that number comes up, it's simply the square footage of the property divided by the zoning, which is 200,000 square feet. So if you divide 186,720 by 200,000, you'll get 0.9336 development rights. The thinking is that one development right is 200,000 square feet, which is what the minimum zoning is for the area. So if you only have 186,720, it's a little bit less than one full development right.
And where could a development right like that be used? Anywhere in the West Hampton School District? Is that how that works?
They can be used in the West Hampton Beach School District for zoning densities. They could also be used for clearing, for overclearing on properties anywhere in the town. The planning board doesn't discriminate against where the rights come from when they're being used for clearing, for overclearing issues.
Okay. Well, there's limits to how much you can overclear even with development rights.
Well, usually when they use the development rights for overclearing, they bring the property into compliance with the clearing restrictions. So yes, to your analysis.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for Dave? Okay. Let's go to the public, Charles. If somebody wants to be heard at this second public hearing on the deed of residual fee from Blair Gaza, they need to raise their hand by clicking the raise hand icon, their virtual hand, I guess.
And there are no hands.
All right. Yeah, I don't see the need to leave this record open either, so I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second that, Supervisor.
All right, seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we will move on to the next. Dave, if you want to stop sharing for a second, or do you want to leave it up there? Might as well leave it there.
Yeah, because it's the same map.
Yeah, all right. So I'll ask our clerk, Cindy Shermeyer.
Recording in progress.
Third public hearing notice.
Certainly. Public hearing number 3, to accept the deed of residual fee from Mary DiCarlo, Vincent DiCarlo, and Patricia DiCarlo for property to be maintained as open space located at West Hampton pursuant to Southampton Town Code 244-4, obtaining a development rights certificate, and 247 General Municipal Law of the State of New York.
All right, so Dave Wilcox, our planning director, will introduce this. He already sort of has. So it's very similar to the last one. It's the piece just to the northeast of the Gaza piece and about half the size. So I imagine it's about half as many, about half the development, right, approximately?
Yeah, this property is 1.9 acres or 82,560 square feet. The development right allocation is 0.4128 rights.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions about this? All right, I'll go to the public. Is there anyone who wishes to be heard at the third, third, I was correct, third public hearing notice on the DeCarlo residual fee deed, accepting the deed from DeCarlo?
No hands.
You have to click the raise hand icon if you wish to be heard.
I see no hands.
All right, let me just check in the chat, make sure nobody's struggling here. Okay, I don't see anything. All right, I will make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we'll move on to the fourth public hearing notice. Sunday, would you please read it?
Public hearing number 4, to consider amending chapter 1.3 building construction, article 5, energy conservation, to modify the HERS rating standards and incorporate New York Stretch Energy Code 2020 into the town code.
All right, so Janice, will you be introducing this?
Yes.
So
Good
Janice,
evening.
our land planning and development administrator, is going to introduce it. She'll be joined by Michelangelo Lieberman, assistant planner.
Yes, environmental planner. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board. It's a pleasure to be here. We've had a few work sessions on this item. This is to adopt the New York State Stretch Code. We've worked with NYSERDA, and some folks are on here from there, and we have, and Mike will go into all that. We also have Newport Ventures. Margot is with us, who also has been helping us kind of really understand what this means. And so, I think that this is a really good thing because it's just kind of stretching our energy, demands and things. We're really accounting for them more and more with what we're doing. And I think that, it just furthers the way that we're trying to get people to have more energy efficient buildings and in their construction methods. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mike Lieberman and let him talk. And his guests are for you to ask any questions to of Margot or Andrew Mannett from NYSERDA. And I'm here if you have any questions as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.
Thanks, Janice.
Obviously, you're all aware of a lot of the initiatives that we've recently moved forward with and how we adopted the sustainability plan with a lofty goal of carbon neutrality. And then a couple of years ago, we passed a resolution to be renewable by 2025. And these are numbers, and we need to figure out how we get to these numbers. And when we look at our track record, we are often approaching sustainability and carbon neutrality through the lens of, okay, well, what are we producing? What are we consuming? So for instance, we currently have the solar project occurring in North Sea. We recently passed a battery storage code. We're looking now at battery storage projects. And that's all about the storage and the production. This is about energy conservation. So we've already been a leader in energy conservation. We have HERS standards, and we've had them long before the state did. And so while New York Stretch Code goes a step above where we are, it also goes obviously above where the state is. But it's an optional code that we can opt into or ignore. And we're thinking, because it aligns with the Clean Energy Community Program action items that we're a part of and the Climate Smart Community Program initiatives, that this is an obvious decision for us. And so we have currently, just so we're all on the same page, we have HERS. So if you're building a home above X amount of square feet, 4,500, you have to hit a specific number for a HERS rating. If it's below that, you have to hit a different number. So what we'd be doing with the stretch code is we're changing the number a little bit. We won't be referring to it as HERS anymore. We'll refer to it as an ERI, which is a more general term. And if one can't meet that number, we'll have alternative paths of compliance. And that's through New York stretch code. Additionally, while we want to maintain a lot of our stringent HERS standards, so we are also going to allow for reconstruction and rehabilitation of homes that they have these other paths. Whereas currently they'd have to hit HERS standards if it's deemed a reconstruction of a substantial size. So I don't want to give you too much because there's a lot, and we have Margot here to answer a lot of questions and also to present and discuss this and how people can benefit and how the costs and who and how long it takes before those costs are realized, and as well as, but does anyone have any questions currently?
Michelangelo, does it make it harder or more expensive to comply, or does it just give people more options?
In certain instances, it'll make it, it doesn't make it harder to comply. It gives them more options. It may make it more expensive initially, but over a course of a couple of years, and Margot can speak to this, you'll reap those financial benefits back. But for the standard code, it's 10% more efficient. Where we are, because we're already kind of a leader in this, it's about roughly 5%. So the costs, you're getting some efficiencies and then gaining some financial later on, incentives later on.
In terms of how the numbers are calculated, is it the same formulas, or are the architects and engineers familiar, or do we have to do training to get them to meet the new qualifications?
Typically, architects and engineers will rely on a HERS rater for the HERS standards. So HERS raters will be qualified to do all 4 paths of compliance. So it won't be an additional burden. That being said, NYSERDA is offering training not only to our staff, but as well as people in the industry.
Okay. All right. Before we go to the public, there might be other board questions for Janice or Michelangelo. And you have additional presentation before we get the public, is that
Margot
correct?
can speak. We brought her from Newport Ventures to she's an expert on this topic specifically, has been hired by NYSERDA to advise and consult with staff as well as elected officials. Margot, if you have anything you'd like to say.
We presented to the board several months ago now, early on in the pandemic. So this may be not right on your radar screens, but we are happy to present again more information about the stretch code. It definitely is, it follows the format of the energy code. And so it's very easily understandable by code officials, architects, builders alike. And it is, as Mike said, a step above, a 5% increase in efficiency. And so it's a modest step, but it's an important one. And multiple communities, particularly in the Hudson Valley, have already adopted the stretch code. I think, probably 24 different townships and villages have adopted already.
Margo, just quickly interrupt.
Yeah.
I think 18 small municipalities have adopted it, and I believe only 3 large municipalities. We would be the first large municipality on Long Island to adopt this. East Hampton just adopted it last week, but they're considered a small municipality. Sorry.
Okay, no, that's fine. So definitely a easily achievable step above where you are with your code, as well as where the state is with its energy code.
Okay. So any questions from the board? If not, we'll go to the public.
I have a quick question concerning the training that NYSERDA will give. Is there plans to do some outreach to local contractors, builders, architects, so that they know that that's out there?
Yeah. All the training will be offered by NYSERDA free of charge. Will be advertised, builders, architects, code officials alike.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a certification that comes along with that training?
There isn't a certification.
per se, not formal, but certainly the stretch code, building to the stretch code in and of itself is a designation for recognition.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, we'll go to the public. If you wish to be heard on this, the fourth public hearing related to the stretch code, that's not aerobics, that's energy. And not yoga, right? So if anybody wants to be heard on this, you need to click the raise hand icon.
I see no hands.
I thought Tip
Tip
wanted.
is here and wishes to speak in the public hearing.
Not on this hearing. He wants to speak. in
Just
public.
raise his hand. So I'll let him know.
If I could, I know we're in the public portion of this. Some important note I just forgot to mention that this is tied to a $50,000 grant, the Clean Energy Community Program. So once we adopt this, we're automatically eligible for that those funds as well as additional funds through their program. But I just can't believe I forgot the money. I should have started with that.
I was waiting, Michael.
Yeah.
I was going to clean up, but thanks.
If I could make one comment. The Sustainability Committee has been kept up to speed on this. We're fully supportive of what Mike and Janice are trying to do. We haven't been directly involved in reviewing it. I am here to speak on another resolution that you have later.
All right, thank you, Tip. All right, and you can stay on because we're going to get to the public portion in a minute. All right, is there anyone else who wishes to be heard on the stretch code?
I see no other hands.
You need to stretch your hand up in the air. No one?
No hands.
Do we need to leave this one open for more than one hearing, or is this significant enough that we ought to have more input over the, it is Zoom?
We've had a lot of work sessions on this. There's been a lot of outreach on this. My feeling is that I would prefer to close it tonight, leave it open for written comment. It's pretty well understood within the industry that people that that are involved in this have done an extremely good job in getting this information out. My own research and thank you for mentioning the Hudson Valley. It has enjoyed a great success, and people are actually quite happy about it. And that's my feeling, but I'll defer to the board. If you want to keep it open for another hearing, that's up to you guys. But I would prefer to close it and go to public leave it open for written comment.
Yeah, I'm just not sure how aware the construction community is that this is being heard tonight. I don't know. Nobody's mentioned it to me. So, but I'm willing to close it and leave the written record open. If people want to comment, they can do that. Any other thoughts, Rick, Tommy John, Julie? You have a preference?
Well, in the past, we've been leaving stuff open for 2 weeks. I mean, I'd rather err on the side of, let people get their comments in.
So just keep the written record open too?
I think she's saying have one more hearing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Rick, Tommy John, either of you have a thought?
Yeah, we could have it open one for another 2 weeks. I think Councilwoman Lofsted makes a good point. And so long as we're, ready to close it at our next meeting.
Yeah, I don't think there's any super hurry to it. So
No,
Rick,
only as much as that we have to be, in order to be eligible for the financial gain, we have to close this by the end of the year. So we can stand one more hearing, keeping that open. I'm fine with that. it's just been my experience that people are pretty well aware of this, but I'm more than happy to keep it open again if that's the board's preference.
All right, Rick, you have a thought here?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, we can keep it open for another 2 weeks and have another hearing. As long as we get it done by the end of the year, we'll be fine.
What's,
We'll have maybe Mike, can we have a resolution ready for approval at the next board meeting? Maybe?
Absolutely.
yeah, and people can also do written comment too, but this would also give them the opportunity to show up at our meeting and be heard directly.
Yeah, I would suggest that any of the public listening that they can go back and look at the several work sessions that we've had over the time period to, if they want to get up to speed as well. That's a good place to learn a lot about it. But there's a lot of literature on this.
Cindy, what's the date of the next town board meeting? You need to unmute.
I also need to get a calendar. So it's the second Tuesday in December.
I don't have one
sorry.
either, unfortunately.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to look it up real quick.
December 14th.
Thank you, Julie.
You're welcome.
Not at my regular desk right now.
Okay, so
Bless you.
Bless.
Thank you.
So just my one question to Michael, does that give us enough time so that we remain eligible for the grant?
As long as we adopt it before January 1st, then we're good.
Okay, good, then we're good.
We're ready, we're good to go on the 14th then.
all right, so I'll make a motion to adjourn the public hearing until December 14th,
I'll second that.
seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Buddy.
That's the last public hearing. We're going to move on to public portion. And I know Tip Roland is wishing to be heard. Anyone else who wishes to be heard, just click the raise hand icon. It's probably on the bottom of your screen. So, and then we'll get to you as soon as we can. So each speaker is afforded 3 minutes to make their comments known. I just ask, even though it says your name that you entered, if you could just state your name as you begin your comments for our record, and then you can say whatever you want for 3 minutes. All right, Tip, you're up first.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and town board members. My name is Tip Brolin. I am a resident of Watermill and have been a member of the town's Sustainability Advisory Committee since its inception in 2008. I want to register strong support for resolution number 27 on your agenda, which will enable proceeding with preparation of a town climate action plan to guide the town's efforts toward meeting our climate action goals. Cities throughout the country have found that a climate action plan is essential if actions are to be efficiently, cost-effectively directed toward meeting their objectives. This is reinforced by my own professional experience in managing large multi-year projects where detailed plans are key to their successful completion. Without such plans, there is a high risk of uncoordinated actions, wasted effort, and ultimately failure. So I want to thank you and the town board for considering this important effort, and particularly Janice and Mike, who have been working off and on this for many years. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tip. It looks like next up is Dieter van Liesten.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Supervisor. You're getting better in pronouncing my name. Mr. Supervisor and board members, I appreciate the opportunity to talk on this issue. My name is Dieter van Liesten. I'm a resident of Southampton, and I've been on and off chair and co-chair of the Sustainability Committee since 2011. And ever since, the CAP plan has been on our agenda. So it shows we have determination to stick to it. I strongly support the resolution 27. It will enable these proceedings will enable the town to determine what steps should be taken in a coordinated fashion to achieve the climate action goals the town has set for itself. It is a crucially important piece of paper to give us all the figures and all the numbers we need to go ahead to achieve our set goals for climate action. Therefore, I strongly support the resolution and I ask you to vote in favor of it. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Dieter.
Thanks, Dieter.
All right, Charles, is there anyone else who wishes to be heard? If you want to be heard in this public portion, you need to click the raise hand icon at the bottom of your screen. Charles, anyone? Charles, are you there?
See no other hands.
No other hands. Okay, I'll make a motion to close public portion.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So some of you who are here for public portion need to exit, and we're going to go through the agenda. All right, so we're going to start with resolution 1097 of 2021. This is co-sponsored by Councilman Schiavone and Councilman Martell. It accepts a grant award for expansion of the Child Enrichment Center and authorizes the supervisor to sign any and all documents required by Empire State Development, ESD. This is basically see me at the Head Start building. So is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. All
Town
right.
Board Resolution 2021-1099, co-sponsored with Supervisor Schneiderman, is to authorize a change order from the, oh, I'm sorry, did I miss something?
Yeah,
Apologize.
you skipped one.
Sorry.
All right, 2021-1098. You're very eager, John. That's
Yeah, it's a thin agenda.
yeah, not a bad thing. All right, so 1021-1028, 2021-1098 appoints EPIC insurance brokers and consultants as insurance broker for the town.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Lofstad. All in favor?
Aye.
I approved. All right, it's your turn
Okay.
now.
We'll try this again. Town Board Resolution 2021-1099, to authorize a change order for mechanical portion of Town Hall HVAC improvements, as co-sponsored with the supervisor.
I guess I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I approved. All right, 2021-1100 authorizes purchase of construction services from Renew Contracting and Restoration Services using Bayshore Union Free School District contract for Bridgehampton Community House porch restoration.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Lofstad. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I approved. Right. 2021-1101 authorizes the supervisor to sign any and all documents with New York State Department of Environmental Conservation for Brownfield Cleanup Program. This is Damascus Road.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell. This is some incidental costs that we're responsible for, that we have to reimburse New York State for. So we had a second by Councilman Martell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved.
Town Board Resolution 1102 of 2021 authorized the supervisor to sign 2022 contract extension with Dom's Lawn Makers Incorporated for tree and stump.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved.
Town Board Resolution 1103 of 2021 authorized the supervisor to sign a 2022 contract extension with Pavement Services Incorporated for engineering service to be provided to this highway department.
And this is a one-year extension?
1 year, yes.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. All right, 2021-1104 authorizes the supervisor to sign contract extensions with G&M DEDGE Inc. for vehicle fuel management system maintenance and installation.
Second.
I think this is also a highway related. Seconded by Councilman Martell, is that correct?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved.
Town Board Resolution 2021-1105 authorized supervisor to sign contract extension or extensions for embroidered and silk screen clothing with J&G Awards and Sports and New York State Industries for the Disabled Corp.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Lobstadt. All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Let's get a little quicker on some of those seconds. The next one, 2021-1106, co-sponsored with Councilman Bouvier and Councilman Martell, authorizes the supervisor to sign contract extension for hardware and various items for pickup.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved.
Town Board Resolution 2021-1107 is co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone to authorize the supervisor to sign the 2022 Community Development Block Grant Project Description Form.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. And there's a number of awards there. It's total of $250,000. Groups like Butterfly Effect and CME and Sepulchre Hair, Maureen's Haven, Heart of the Hamptons, East End Disability. Lots of good organizations doing good work. All right. So we had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. 2021-1108 authorizes the supervisor to sign 2022 agreement with Penflex Inc. for the Defined Benefit Service Award Program, also known as LOSAC. Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. Okay. 2021-1109 authorizes the supervisor to execute a 2022 contract extension with Aquarius Capital Company to provide actuarial services to the town.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved.
Town Board Resolution 2021-1110 is authorize the supervisor to execute a 2022 contract extension with Johnson Electrical Corp. To maintain and repair traffic signals within the town.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. 2021-1111 authorize the supervisor to execute a 2022 maintenance agreement with Tracker Software Corporation, formerly known as Business Management Systems, Inc. for PubWorks software for various town facilities.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved.
Town Board Resolution 1112 of 2021, authorize the supervisor to execute a contract extension with Univar USA Incorporated for the supply of liquid caustic soda.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Lofstad. That's for the Hampton Bays Water District. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved.
Town Board Resolution 1113 of 2021, authorize the supervisor to sign a contract extension for bituminous concrete and bituminous materials with East Island Asphalt Corp.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. This is a, again, it's a one-year extension. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved.
Town Board Resolution 2021-1114, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone, is to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract extension with Brian Bistrian for farming at the Town Line Road parcel, Town Line Road, Sagaponack, Suffolk County Tax Map number 908-4-1-27.
Second.
Second. I mean, is that market rate? I don't know what it costs to lease farmland, but $180 per acre per year seems cheap, but maybe.
That's about right, actually.
I think that was the bids they got. And we
Yeah.
have the one Bridge Hampton where we got no bids at all. So it's, I believe this is not fenced, and that is an impact.
It's a relatively small piece. I want to say
Yeah.
10 acres or 12 acres or something.
Pretty much wraps around Town Line Barbecue, I believe. That's the piece.
Okay. All
And I
right.
would say that if that's the highest bid, that's the market rate.
Yeah, right. These are small farmers trying to edge out a living.
Yeah, this is on Town Line Road.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like-
right, I think it's adjacent to the Town Line Barbecue over there, or across the street.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty visible piece of farmland.
Yeah.
All right. So we had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved.
Town Board Resolution 1115 of 2021, authorize the supervisor to sign contract extension for district-wide well and pump maintenance and repair at the Hampton Bays Water District with Delta Well and Pump Company Incorporated.
Second.
Second by Councilman Schiavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved.
Town Board Resolution 1116 of 2021, authorize the supervisor to sign contract extension for furnish and deliver meter pits and ancillary equipment with Ferguson Waterworks.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Lofstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved.
Town Board Resolution 1117 of 2021, authorize the supervisor to sign extension for Suffolk Paving Corp. For furnish and install asphalt concrete. Also a one-year extension.
Second.
All right. Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. Jim, these are 1 year or 2 year extensions? I guess they're 1 year.
I believe this is a 1 year.
This is a 1 year.
1 year. Yeah.
Correct. 2 additional 1 year terms. So yeah, so this is the last 1 year extension. Okay, so I'm sorry, did I vote? Did we all vote? All in
No.
favor?
No.
All in favor? Aye. Did we have a second? We did, Tommy John, right? Okay, so approved 2021-1118, award and authorize supervisor to sign contract with Fisher Signs and Shirts LLC for vehicle graphics.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approved. Resolution 2021-1119. Authorize the town controller to purchase the necessary property, casualty, auto, and liability insurance policies.
Second.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Lofstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. 2021-1120, authorize the town controller to purchase the necessary workers' compensation insurance from the New York State Municipal Workers' Compensation Alliance.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Approved.
On Board Resolution 21-1121, authorizes supervisor to sign agreements for senior services programs.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There's your
Approved.
yoga, Mr. Supervisor.
Sorry?
But there's your yoga. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah. Yeah, that's not the stretch code we were talking about.
Yeah, this is the real thing. Yeah.
Actual yoga,
Yeah.
Town Board Resolution 1122 of 2021, award and authorize supervisor to sign contract with Keith Grimes Incorporated for the Quantuck Creek Culvert.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved.
Town Board Resolution 2021-1123, co-sponsored with Councilman Martell, to award and authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with Ramboll for the preparation of a climate action plan for the town of Southampton.
Second.
I'm sorry, who's the second?
The
Councilman
co-contract.
Martell. So John, tell me about this company now, this Ramboll.
Well, the planning board, the planning department, Michael and Janice and Frank and several of us went through a long process to find a company that can do this job, which is basically to gather the numbers that we need. I think Tip Rowland explained it pretty well at the beginning, so I don't think I need to go back through that. It's part of meeting the state goal. There is a state goal of carbon neutrality by 2040. This company has experience doing this with other municipalities very successfully. Their proposal stood out beyond all others. It was a no-brainer. They really know what they're doing. So we're looking forward to working with them and gathering, producing the metrics necessary to be able to guide our board and future boards, give them a roadmap on how to get to meet the same goal that the state has put in front of us. Mike, I don't know if you want to add anything to that. I see you popped in there.
John, I think that's a wonderful summary. It's again, we're part of that Climate Smart Community Program. This is one of their primary action items. It's all about, we're going to assess what we're consuming, what we're producing, and then of course, look at action items that can help us mitigate our consumption. And then gives us a better understanding of what's occurring, so that there aren't other well, let's leave it at that.
No, it's almost 150,000. So I'm assuming they're going to do a significant amount of work for that price, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's also, think of it in the context of the comprehensive plan. It's 2022. If when we contemplate our next comprehensive plan and updating it again, this is going to inform that document on our next steps.
So is this going to give us something that we'll formally adopt at the end, like the sustainability plan, or is it
No, it'll be adopted like a sustainability plan as an addendum to the comprehensive plan.
And how long will we be engaged, or will we engage their services? Is this for a year? Or?
I believe
yeah.
It is a year. Hi, this is Janice again. It's a 1-year term of a contract, and they're going to be doing the work that we've been trying to do. Literally, as Tip and Dieter said, we've been really trying to get to this for so long. And that is, they're going to do all the greenhouse gas emissions for the town facilities and for the community at large, which is a huge amount of work. And then they're going to give us all kinds of sort of cost benefit analysis toward different action items that you can take.
And they're familiar with the climate smart community stuff, this distributed energy generation, the CCA.
Yep, and part of their role is to coordinate those programs and roll it all into one thing. So it really, the idea is not just, hey, we should do this now. Instead of doing that, we're going to have a real strategic plan here. so that we can understand our energy capacity, what we can produce, what we can store, what we will, how to offset our greenhouse gas emissions and reach our carbon neutrality goals.
To put it in a broader context, the state has this goal, and we also as a town stated this goal quite a few years ago. This administration did the two goals of energy independence in 2025 and the net neutrality by 2040, which is a goal set by the state as well. So if you can imagine, that sounds great, but to get there, there's a lot of work. There's a lot of stuff to measure and understand, to define the low-hanging fruit. It's also designed to be flexible, as Mike alluded to, towards if we change our update our comprehensive plan. This is a big chunk of that. I think there would be significant savings in the development of that because this work's already been done. This gives us that road to accomplish those goals. So as a municipality, we're doing our part. And I'm certainly hopeful that other municipalities will follow suit. And I know in the state of New York, this is a big deal. It's a lot of work to get there, but you can't just, as Janice said, you can't just say, okay, well, this looks good or that looks good. You have to have a defined set of pathway to get this done properly.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I just have a quick comment. Although I'm not going to be here when the plan's prepared and adopted, I hope that the impact on all the stakeholders within our town will be taken into consideration, especially those industries that rely on fossil fuels to do their business, because there's no mechanically or financially feasible alternatives. Farming and fishing are only two of the perhaps many businesses that could experience negative impacts on their livelihoods. Should their particular needs not be considered as the plan is developed. And just for the reason that I won't be able to review it, I'm going to be abstaining today.
Well, to your point, Julie, that ultimately this informs future policy. There's not a mandate in here. This enables both this administration and the next administration is going to 2040 to meet this goal for the state. It helps inform those policies. So there is nothing in there that is mandating anything. This is to inform a policy, inform future policies going forward.
Understood, but if we're looking for, zero emissions, a commercial fishing boat at this point they'll never have zero emissions because there's no feasible alternative for them.
I don't know that zero emissions is really the goal. It's more about carbon neutrality in terms of, the built environment. And, yes, the whole city as a whole is moving toward electric cars, but I don't think there's going to be, let's take away the gas powered fishing fleets or something. I don't see that as what we're out.
There's also a push, to have a gas tax, and that's going to have a negative impact as well. And I don't know what's going to be in this plan, and that's why I don't feel that I should be voting on it at this point.
There's nothing, and that's fine. And I'm sorry to interrupt one more time, but just in terms of what's going to be in the plan is what you want to be in the plan. The consultant is going to give you a range of options with cost benefit analyses, and you determine what will end up being in the plan. The town board will decide. So,
right. And again, and since I'm leaving and I won't be reviewing it, I feel better that I abstain.
I completely respect that. And from the plan does flow the policies that you may be concerned with, and we don't know what they are. So it makes total sense if you have those concerns to abstain. All right. Anyone else on it?
Yeah, Janice, a quick question. As this is being developed, this is going to be developed in conjunction with the town board, and I would imagine members of the public in some way, right?
Correct.
Yes, there's a public component, as always, and public hearings, involved in any plan that the town is looking at. But the most important piece I would add is really having someone look at our energy goals and then laying out a roadmap on how to meet them. So that's really the high level, goal here is what we're looking at. And then understanding our capacity to produce, store energy, and then become more efficient, as our stretch code is showing you. So it all kind of connects together, but there's not going to be some surprise thing that nobody wants, because in the end, it will be up to you to decide what you want.
So we'll have a series of work sessions throughout this process.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. You know, the whole idea is to be able to give us a way to determine policy. You know, that's the whole point here. Otherwise, we'll just keep saying, well, that looks good or that looks good, and it's not done comprehensively.
I understand what you said earlier, Councilman. I agree. I was just asking about the process and what kind of input we were going to be having. So thank you.
Yep.
All right, anyone else? All right, I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
And one abstention from Councilwoman Lofstad. So it is approved. Moving on to 2021-1124. It's a 2021 notice to bidders for dry cleaning and laundry services. It's co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone. It's for the police department. Tommy John, you want a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. John, you're next.
We got pages stuck together. Somebody have a page number for me? This goes on forever.
Bottom of 27.
27? Sorry about that. Oh, there we are. Town Board Resolution 2021-1125 will be, I'm going to withdraw that. I'll make a motion to withdraw.
I don't think you have to make a motion.
Do I have to do that? No?
You
So
just
I'm just
withdraw.
gonna withdraw.
Okay, it's withdrawn?
Yes,
All
you have
right.
to withdraw.
All right, so will the clerk consider that withdrawn? And then we'll move on.
I'm sorry. No, my apologies. It's the wrong, I labeled it wrong.
All right, so now
So-
I have a technical issue, although I think,
Yeah, that's totally my fault. I labeled
Jim,
it.
is there, there's
the wrong
really no
resolution.
actions. Can we just unwithdraw that? He just.
Yeah, just, yes, Mr. Supervisor, I would just unwithdraw.
What the heck, why not?
Yeah. Council.
No harm, no foul.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
yeah, it's a 5-second rule. It's a.
We don't have to recall. We don't have to make a motion to recall the resolution. All right, whatever. John, we'll just gotta pretend that didn't happen.
Why don't we just pretend that didn't happen?
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
I'm fine with that. All right, can you
Okay,
read the resolution? Let's
Town
start.
Board
over again.
Resolution 2021-1125 is a 2021 notice to bidders for maintenance on trails in Southampton.
Second.
That's co-sponsored with Councilwoman Lofstad, who just seconded.
Seconded it, seconded by Councilwoman Lofstad, which is kind of interesting technically too, because I don't know if you could have drawn it on your own. You might have both had to withdraw it.
Again, as a sponsor.
Because it would just, you would be dropping off as a sponsor, so.
I'd like to say that was planned, but it wasn't.
Well, it just makes it a little cleaner. All right, so it was seconded by Councilwoman Lofstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved.
Town Board Resolution 1126 of 2021, the 2021 notice to bidders for window decals and permits.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Lofstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. We're getting there. All right, I'm up to 2021-1127, 2021 notice to bidders for banners and signs.
Second.
Seconded by, was that Councilman Martell?
Yes, sir.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. All right, 2021-1128, amend the 2021 budget for various departments.
Second.
Housekeeping here. All right, Councilman Schiavone seconding. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, here we go. Town Board Resolution 2021-1129. I will withdraw.
All right. Would the clerk please consider that withdrawn? And I'll move on to 2021-1130, notice of adoption enacting Article 14, Cultural Resources Protection Overlay District of Chapter 330 zoning of the town of the Southampton Town Code. I'll make a motion to approve and we can discuss it. Let's get a second.
Second.
By Councilman Bouvier, we have Janice Shearer, our Land Planning and Development Administrator, with us as well. So we did, you probably all saw the secra. I've signed the secra now. So this is eligible for a vote. And we haven't really heard any opposition, sort of somewhat surprisingly, because it does affect quite a number of properties. But, you know, this grew out of, you know, I want to say it started at Hawthorne, but it really didn't start there. I could say it started at the, you know, the property out in Bridgehampton where human remains were found, you know, 20 years ago, but it didn't really start there either. This started long before we got here, long before the town of Southampton got here. We were not the first ones. The indigenous people, the Shinnecock, have been living here for thousands of generations. So, they buried their dead here. They had their habitation sites here. And, you know, really sort of, it came to light in a number of ways, whether it was the documentary that was done, Conscience Point, the burial or that was found at Hawthorne. It just was surprising to me that we didn't have anything on the books in these very sensitive areas that would require some just basic archaeology before you go dig a big hole for a foundation or, you know, significant addition to a home or a new home. And, you know, we worked with some members of the Shinnecock Nation. We worked with our town archaeologist, Joanne McLean. We worked with Janice Shearer and others, Dave Wilcox, our planning director, trying to craft a law that wasn't too onerous, but it was respectful. It was respectful to the people, the ancestors of the people who are here now. That if we know an area is well documented to be culturally sensitive, that if you're in those areas or near a burial, a known burial, near a cemetery, because we also included colonial burial cemeteries as well. So we put, if we pass this, we're enacting some common sense legislation to avoid disturbing graves. And you know, we did pass a law earlier on in my tenure as supervisor, the Graves, what I've been calling the Graves Protection Act, that really sort of tells you what to do if in the unfortunate circumstance that you have actually encountered human remains during a construction project. Now it stops. There was no mechanism to stop it. Now it stops and you go through a process. But this is sort of the companion legislation. This seeks to avoid disturbance of these important sacred sites. And, you know, our burial practices, now they're sort of diverse, but, you know, traditionally with the tombstones, very clearly marked graves. You know, Montauk Indians, you know, they did do some mounding and stones, and depending on certain points, but the Shinnecock's often buried without any surface indications. And so you have these unmarked graves, and it was their culture, their burial practices. And I think this is an important piece of legislation. It does affect portions of Shinnecock Hills, certainly not all of Shinnecock Hills. There's some pieces, some areas even in Hampton Bays, small areas that may be affected by this. Some areas up in Sabonic, in that area. So there's a map, and we've gone through this. We had multiple work sessions. We had multiple public hearings. And, you know, I really appreciate all the work that went in, all of your thoughts on the town board, trying to get to this point. And, you know, I know East Hampton, I believe their law is even more strict than this. They have you know, pretty much all of Montauk is archaeologically sensitive. So, but I think this is a good piece of legislation. It doesn't mean it can't be expanded in the future, but it's certainly a really good starting point. And I certainly support it, and I hope you'll support it as well. So.
Supervisor, I would actually personally like to thank you for this legislation. And, you and I have talked about this for a long time. And also to acknowledge the fact that this is also protecting some of our colonial era lost history. And hopefully this will prevent, that happening for those parts of colonial history that have been lost as well. So this is a win-win all the way around to me. I think I do agree with you. I think it's a very important piece of legislation. So thank you.
Thank you, John. Anyone else?
Sure. Just a quick comment. The fact that something like this hasn't been instituted in Southampton town is, I find a bit surprising considering the history here and the indigenous peoples who have been here for thousands of years. So I applaud the legislation, and it's frankly long overdue. So I fully support it.
I'll just call out the work of Rebecca Genia from the Shinnecock Grave Protection Warrior Society. She's not the only one, but she has been a leading voice on these issues. And I'm not sure we'd be here where we are doing this if it wasn't for her advocacy, and of course, Chairman Polite as well. So I'd like to just give them some special recognition.
Yeah,
all right.
Becky's been at it for decades, as we know. She's an incredible woman.
All right, is there anyone else? All right, I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's approved unanimously. Janice, thank you for that.
Thank you all. And I just want to thank Dave Wilcox for his really good work in this case. He spent a lot of time mapping it and working it out, and we spent a lot of time talking it over with you all, and I applaud you all for a great job. And just for anyone who's listening, we will be sure to process everything in a timely manner so that we've already got our processes set up so that when someone has to do a site disturbance plan or an archaeological assessment, we'll be sure to expedite those reviews as quickly as possible.
And I would just ask, and first of all, thank you, Janice, again, and thank you, Dave. It just, because this is a new law and we don't have, the kinks worked out yet, as you start executing it, if you run into issues, just please feel free to come back to us to make whatever amendments we need to the law to make it flow more efficiently if need be.
Definitely. Thank you.
Okay, I'm up to 2021-1131, authorizing the Community Preservation Fund tax refund pursuant to the first-time home buyers exemption for Julian Melendez.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Lofstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approved. 2021-1132. Accepts the resignation of a heavy equipment operator in waste management.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approved. 2021-1133 accepts retirement of John Sotoratis, maintenance mechanic 2 in municipal works.
Same second.
Same second by John Bouvier, Councilman Bouvier, and just on the motion, I just want to congratulate John on his retirement and thank him for his service to the town of Southampton. Call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved. All right, 2021-1134 accepts retirement of Linda Marzano, Deputy Town Clerk.
If I
Second.
may, sir.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I wouldn't have gone through this without giving you an opportunity to say something.
And I appreciate that so much because Lynn is she was amazing woman. She came, she worked for years in the building department before she came to be a deputy in the town clerk's office. And she came in with a tremendous amount of experience and knowledge that just, we benefited tremendously from that, as did the constituents that she helped to serve. And we love Lynn. She's amazing. She just is tremendous. She's just a wonderful lady. And, you know, we've been fortunate to have her midst, honestly, for this many years. And she's been really wonderful in passing on all of the knowledge that she can to the deputy that's going to come in after her, because we've been fortunate to have cross-training for several months now with the two of them, and we all benefit from that. And we're just so grateful because she's so gracious in imparting all of this wealth of knowledge as much as she can in this 3 to 4 month period. And it's a blessing, quite frankly, and we're so grateful for her. So thank you for letting me at least say this, because we're going to miss her very much. And she's just done a tremendous job.
Well, we all like Lynn, and we all wish her just the absolute very best in her well-deserved retirement. I can't really add to what you said, Sunday, because you've worked so closely with her, and I know how important she is to your operation down there and how well she has served the public. So anybody else on the motion?
No, I think Sunday said it all. She's just a gracious, good person, and she will be missed, but you know, I do wish her all the very best. She really deserves it.
I enjoyed working with her too. Linda's been great. She's always finding solutions and always willing to work with everybody. And she's also a great Yankee fan, so I appreciated that too.
Yes, she is. Hardcore.
Yes.
All right. So I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, of course, it's unanimous. So, you know, it's always funny to vote yes to let somebody retire. So I find that odd, but we can't vote no and force her to stay. But I think we'd love to have her stay longer if we could. All right, 2021-1135 appoints Ashley Andexer to administrative assistant position in human resources.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I approved, and congratulations to Ashley. 1136 of 2021 appoints Jamie Bowden to community organizational specialist position from civil service list.
Second.
Everybody braces second. I'm gonna allow Councilwoman Lofstad to make the second. Now, Jamie is in this position, but you know how civil service goes. You have to pass the test. You're provisional up until this point, so this will now become a permanent appointment. And she's doing a great job over there. So
she really is. That's great. I'm glad to hear that.
So, congratulations, Jamie. Well, when the vote comes through.
And we all know Jamie. Jamie once worked in some of your offices, so we're all very familiar with her. So, all right, I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 And congratulations, Jamie. She was my legislative aide. It's good to see her move on.
Absolutely.
Congratulations. All right, 2021-1137, authorizing the hiring of Robert Gerstacker of Police Officer Start. Councilman Schiavone, want a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. I did discuss this hire with the police chief. This person has been in a part-time position at the police department. We're very familiar with him and his capabilities. He's an extremely talented young man and highly recommended by our police chief. And I'd like to support the hiring of Mr. Gerstacker, Officer Gerstacker, in a minute. So.
Second.
And was seconded, I'm sorry. So all in favor?
Aye.
When we do the swearing in, I'll ask, hopefully the chief will let us know. And if you want to go over there and be part of that ceremony, you guys are welcome.
Town Board Resolution 1138 of 2021 is to authorize Chief Fire Marshal John Rankin and Fire Marshal 1 Ryan White to attend the New York State Fire Academy Training Fire and Arson Seminar on November 3rd through November 5th, 2021 in Monterey Falls, New York. He said it went.
Sorry.
All right, who was the second?
Julie.
Seconded by Councilman Lobstadt. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 1139 of 2021 to authorize Fire Marshal 1 Ryan White, Fire Marshal 1 Courtney, and if you're not attempting your last name, Courtney, you're a fine fire marshal, and Fire Marshal 1 Shane Sharkley to attend New York State Fire Academy Fire Sprinkler Plans Review course November 29th, November 30th, 2021 in Monterey Falls, New York.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Lobstadt. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. All right, 2021-1140, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone. Notice of public hearing for 2022 fire protection contracts.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. 1141 of 2021, notice of public hearing to consider the acquisition of lands of Dorothea Marcioch and amend the CPF management and stewardship plan to include that property.
Second.
The quarter acre in Spionk, Remsenburg on Bayview Road, seconded by Councilman Bouvier. This is to hold a public hearing. Public hearing will be December 14th via Zoom, 1 p.m. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. All right, the next one, 2021-1142 is also a notice of public hearing. This is on acquiring lands of the Burden, Kathleen J. Kempler and Robert E. Burden as co-trustees and Robert E. Burden as sole trustees, and to amend the Community Preservation Project Plan and the CPF Management and Stewardship Plan. Let me get a second first, and I'll say something about this one.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. This is to notice a public hearing on Tuesday, December 14th, 1 p.m. via Zoom. All right, so this is the Burden property in Watermill. It adjoins the Militia Triangle, whatever that is called, which is already a town park. And it goes right down to the water in Watermill. It's a really, really terrific piece of property, 4.3 acres. It's not inexpensive. This is a $5.8 million acquisition. It's going to be able, it will enable the town to sort of expand the park into where that triangle is and create incredible public access, just incredible public access in that community to the water. And boy, is that a beautiful section. It's I guess Mill Creek over there, a section, yeah, Mill Creek or Mill Pond, Mill Creek. And it's you know, I'm sure as you've driven to Watermill, you've looked to the right where the Sienna Spirituality Center was. The view there is just incredible. You're going to have a very similar view now on the left side, because part of this will, if it is approved, we have a park plan we're going to discuss, and we're going to remove some vegetation and open up the vista a little bit and create a really tremendous amenity to the Watermill area that you can walk from downtown and enjoy the park, picnic in the park. And I'm really excited that we got agreement from this property owner that will allow us now to go to public hearing. All right. With that, there was a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All right.
Oh, this is a good one. Very happy about this.
Yeah. A long time coming.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So now so the hearing is set. We're going to move to the walk-ons. And I'll start with 38684. This is a resolution to appoint Jessica Feldman to Legislative Secretary and Trustees. Let me start with a second.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Martell. So Jessica has stepped up, has been doing the job that Elisa Dunlop was doing when she was there. And this is to promote her. The trustees feel very strongly that she is the right person for this position. She has the right skill set and particularly the institutional knowledge to carry them forward. They are unanimously in support of this. They have made a recommendation through their own resolution to have her hired for this position. And they're asking the town board in this resolution basically to support that position. And I'm certainly going to support that. And I know that Jessica will do a fine job for the trustees and for the town. So anyone else on this? All right, I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. All right, the next resolution, 38818, appoints Shelley Burkowski to Deputy Town Clerk position.
Okay.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. Sunday, is this the position made because?
Yes.
Open because?
Shelley Burkowski is going to fill the vacancy on January 1st when Lynn retires on December 31st. And the two of them have been working together. And I think Shelley is just going to be a fabulous addition to our crew. So she's already off to a great start and quite successful. Between Lynn and Kim and all the training that's taking place, she's going to be well suited for this.
All right, excellent. All right, any questions? Any discussion? All right, I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved
Thank you.
unanimously. All right, the next one is co-sponsored with Councilman Bouvier and Councilman Scavone. It's resolution 38872, authorizing controlled demolition with friable asbestos at 140 West Montauk Highway in Hampton Bays.
Second.
Is this,
Yes, it is. The Chamber building?
this is the Chamber building?
Yes, yes. I believe.
Yes.
And we've made a determination that it's not historic nor salvageable. Is that the issue?
Yeah, it's the salvageable part for sure, yes. Yeah, we've had reports, engineering reports, a number of different reports that say that it's really not salvageable at this point.
All right. Okay. So we had a motion and a second, correct?
Correct.
Honest, I didn't hear the second because you have two listed here as sponsors, so.
All right, Councilman Bouvier, you want a second?
Yeah, either way, I think Tommy John did, but I'll second one.
No, let it be Councilman Scavone then.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Can I ask the folks over in Hampton Bays, our two reps from that area, are you guys okay with moving this forward?
I had quite a few people that were hoping that it would be restored. I mean, I don't think anybody knew it was being torn down. I know it was in quite disrepair. I've been in the building. We did have the Chamber of Commerce office there for a number of years. We had housed a lot of records from the Historical Society upstairs. At one point, I know you had to shut down the upstairs. But I guess the big question is, what are we going to do with the property after we're done here?
Yeah, well, it'll be vacant land. We'll have to figure out. It was purchased with a bond, I think an open space bond.
Oh, it was an open space bond. You're right. You're right, Mr. Supervisor. Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, we had the same issue with the West Hampton Beach, the old community center. It finally reached a point. And it was used almost up to that point. So,
I know there are probably some people want to save it, but if it's beyond the point of being salvaged, then.
Yeah.
Well, particularly with friable asbestos.
And, we do have Liaison Hat Shop very close to that. We have Prosper King House very close to that. So, all right. And I'll move the resolution forward. So I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approved. Oh, all right. This one's a lot easier, this next one. 38873, authorized controlled demolition with friable asbestos at 33 Bay Avenue in East Quogue. Let me take a second first.
Second.
So, yeah, this building has been an attractive nuisance. It's gotten graffitied, broken into. People have been very vocal about its negative impact on the neighborhood. And we are, going through this process. These are lengthy processes where fuel tanks have to be emptied and removed, etc. So we're at the point now where we can actually tear down that building. It's expensive. It's hard to believe that it's going to cost $123,000 to knock it down, but I guess with the asbestos, that adds quite a bit to it. And the CPF program is paying for this. Not that it makes it any easier, but I think the community would really like to see that property cleaned up. And it's time to move this forward. This is co-sponsored by Councilman Bouvier and Councilman Schiavone. So we had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. All right, moving along rapidly here. 38875 is our 22nd warrant, Capital 22, CPF 22, payroll liability.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. We need to do these to get people paid, so important resolutions. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. All right. 38878 authorizes the supervisor to engage services and execute an agreement with Squires Holding Weisenbacher and Smith for Shinnecock Hills Road and Arbutus Road surveying.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Lofstadt. This will give us some potential ability to try to solve what could be a dangerous situation in terms of exiting that Greenfield subdivision.
Yep.
So I think this is important. We had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approved.
Aye.
The next one is 38880, authorized agreement between the Hampton Bays Water District and National Grid as it relates to the relocation of a water main.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approved. 38884 amends the Community Preservation Project Plan and the CPF Management and Stewardship Plan to include the land of Camp Jerome LLC and authorized acquisition. I think, John, you may be more familiar with this property, but I think this is that one in Quogue, where maybe we talked about some horse riding. This is 607 Main Street. It's 4.61 acres of land. And it's a $3.5 million acquisition. Am I right in recalling which piece this is, or is this a different?
Yeah. No, that's right.
It's over near the West Hampton Episcopal Church.
Yeah, it's in the Quogue area. It's a great acquisition. I think the residents will be very happy.
And we're doing this as a Village Hamlet Green Parks and Recreation area that'll keep uses more flexible.
Yep.
So, all right. Okay. So who was the second? John?
I will.
All right, Councilman Bouvier seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I approve. All right, Dave Wilcox is here. He had to raise some issues about tax map numbers. I don't know if this next one is the one.
It is, I have the correction.
It is on this one?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, the second tax map number, the very end of it, where it says 3.1, it's supposed to be 1.1.
I have one.
It does say that. Yeah, 307, it's section, District 900, section 307, block 3, lot 1.1. That's what the resolution is saying.
Mine says 3.1.
I
So
have
does,
3.1.
Oh, yeah? No.
Yeah.
It's, the dashes, it's 307-3, which is the block number, and then dash 1.1, which is the lot number.
Mine
Yeah,
says 1.1.
1.1.
1.1, yeah.
Mine says
1.1 is correct, right?
No, sorry, mine says 3.1. Sorry.
yes, and so does mine, but we'll make sure that they all match up and say 1.1.
Right.
Yeah, I don't feel like we need to amend the resolution because my resolution is correct. So you
Mine
can't.
Okay,
is-
so maybe
mine
it was
is as
just
well.
the cover.
It's the error on the sheet. It's not
Okay.
on the,
That's fine.
Okay.
All right, the error could have been on the sheet, but not on the resolution itself.
Yeah.
Great, I just don't have the
Dave, that's the majority.
Dave wants to say something?
Are you all looking at the resolution that conditions the acceptance on not signing the deeds until November 30th? This was a walk-on because Kathleen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you have that resolution with the changes?
Oh, right.
It's a deed of Blair Gaza, correct, Dave? I'm sorry.
All right, because the notice, it said the record would be open for public comment potentially.
Right. So the resolution you're adopting should provide that the deeds will not be signed until November 30th, which would effectively give people additional time to comment in
Yeah,
accordance
it has
with the
that,
public
Dave.
notice.
it has that the said acceptance shall be conditioned upon not receiving any comments against such acquisition on or before November 30th in the last resolve. Is that what you're
Okay,
talking about?
and the tax map number in that resolution is,
Is correct.
it has
900
1.1?
Two tax lot numbers.
Point one,
There's two tax lot numbers, obviously, but
388.
Okay,
One person,
Yes.
please.
So it's just the cover sheet that's incorrect, so the resolution is fine.
okay.
Dave, let me just read the two tax map numbers. 900-306-4-12.1,
Yes,
900-307-3-1.1,
that's correct.
and it's 0.9336 development rights.
Correct.
yeah.
Okay, so I made a motion. I think we had a second. So who was the second?
Second,
Seconded by Councilman Giovanni. Now we have a second. You're right. We did not have a second before because I raised the issue about the tax map numbers. So, okay, now I'm making the motion. I don't know that I've read this. So accept the TDR deed of residual fee from Blair K. Gaza for properties to be maintained as open space located at West Hampton. I will skip the tax map numbers pursuant to Suffolk County, I'm sorry, it's pursuant to Southampton Town Code 244-4, obtaining a development rights certificate, and 247 of the New York State General Municipal Law, seconded by Councilman Giovanni. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, approved with that condition. All right, the next one's gonna have that same condition about November 30th, 2021. Dave, are the tax map numbers correct on this one?
Yes, based on what you read, when you did the walk-ons, you had the correct tax map number then.
All right, so this is Town Board Resolution 38-891, accepts a TDR deed of residual fee for Mary DiCarlo, Vincent DiCarlo, and Patricia DiCarlo for property to be maintained as open space located at West Hampton, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-306-4-24.1.
No, 12.1.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry, you're right, 24.1.
Okay, don't be nervous. Pursuant to Southampton Town Code 244-4, obtaining a development rights certificate, and 247 of the New York State General Municipal Law.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier.
And David also has the same
Condition.
restriction, the same resolve about the condition upon no negative comments against such acquisition prior to November 30th.
Right. Okay, so I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town
Approved.
Board Resolution number 38900, cost reimbursement waiver for the East Quogue Beautification Committee, East Quogue Village Green Annual Tree Lighting Ceremony on Saturday, December 4th, 2021.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Lofstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Thank you, Sunday, for all of that. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
That's all, folks. So I just want to wish all you, obviously, we're not having work session this Thursday. It's Thanksgiving. I hope you take the time to enjoy friends and family and have just a wonderful Thanksgiving feast, and remember all the things that we're so thankful for. So including our families. We're all very blessed.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Jay. Happy
Thank you.
Thanksgiving,
Supervisor,
everyone.
Board.
Happy
Is
Thanksgiving,
there-
everyone.
Hold on,
Thanksgiving.
I have to ask if there's any other business. So hold on. Is there any other business? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We are
Good night,
adjourned. Happy
everyone.
Thanksgiving,
Happy
everyone.
Thanksgiving.